Before we start, if you love stories about broken people who find each other when they need it most, hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you will want to see where this goes. Now let's jump in. The coffee cup hit the marble floor and shattered before Amara could catch it. She stood frozen in Park Ji-hoon's private office. Her cleaning cart sat beside her. Her eyes locked on the document spread across his mahogany desk. The header read Park Industries, Zhongwei Partnership Agreement. But it was Section 12, Paragraph 4 that made her hands shake. "Oh my God," she whispered. "What did you just say?" Amara spun around. Park Ji-hoon filled the doorway. All 6 feet of him. His sharp eyes stared at her in a way that made her stomach drop. She had worked at Park Industries for exactly 4 months. In that time, she learned how to be invisible. Cleaners were not supposed to speak. They definitely were not supposed to read confidential documents. "I am sorry, Mr. Park." The cup slipped. "I will clean it up right now." Amara grabbed paper towels from her cart and dropped to her knees. "You said something when you looked at that contract." Ji-hoon walked into the room. Each footstep sounded deliberate. "What was it?" "Nothing, sir." "I apologize." "You said, 'Oh my God.'" "Why?" Amara kept her eyes on the broken ceramic. Her heart pounded so hard she thought he could hear it. This was exactly what she had been afraid of. For months of keeping her head down. For months of pretending she did not understand the documents she dusted around. For months of playing the role of just another invisible employee. And now, because of one moment of shock, everything was about to collapse. "Miss Kim." Ji-hoon's voice was closer now. He had moved around the desk. "Look at me." She had no choice. Amara stood slowly and met his gaze. Up close, Park Ji-hoon was even more intimidating. Everything about him screamed power. His custom suit. The way he stood, like someone who never had to ask for anything twice. His reputation in Seoul's business world was legendary. The whispers about his darker connections made people careful around him. "I need you to be honest with me," Ji-hoon said. His Korean accent was precise in his English. "What did you see in that contract that made you react that way?" "Mr. Park, I am just a cleaner." "I do not. Do not lie to me." His voice was soft, but carried an edge that made her flinch. "I have built an empire worth $3 billion by reading people. And right now you are terrified. But not because you broke a coffee cup. You are terrified because you understood something in that contract. Something that shocked you. So I will ask one more time. What did you see?" Amara's mind raced. She could walk out right now. Pack up her things, leave, disappear like she had done before. But something in Ji-hoon's expression stopped her. It was not anger she saw there. It was concern. And beneath that, something that looked almost like desperation. "The intellectual property clause," she heard herself say. Her voice carried the faint melody of her Nigerian-American accent. "Section 12, Paragraph 4. Ji-hoon's eyebrows shot up. "What about it?" "It is a trap, Mr. Park. A very sophisticated one." Amara's voice grew stronger despite her fear. "The language looks standard on the surface, but there is a nested provision that transfers all derivative IP rights to Zhongwei's holding company, including any technology your company develops that even relates to the partnership scope. The scope definition in Section 3 is so broad that Zhongwei could claim ownership of virtually everything Park Industries creates for the next decade." The silence that followed was deafening. Ji-hoon stared at her. His face was unreadable. Then he moved past her to the desk and picked up the contract. He flipped through pages. His jaw tightened with each one. "Son of a bitch," he muttered. He looked up at her sharply. "Show me. Show me exactly what you mean." Amara hesitated only a moment before stepping forward. She pointed to the relevant sections and explained the legal architecture that created the trap. "See how this phrase here, including but not limited to adjacent technological developments, links back to the scope definition? And the scope definition itself uses related fields without defining what that means. Any decent lawyer could argue that covers 90% of your R&D pipeline." "Zhongwei's attorney drafted this," Ji-hoon said slowly. "Michael Chin at Blackstone and Associates. Top law firm. They have handled billion-dollar deals across Asia. He looked at Amara with new eyes. How does a cleaning woman spot something that I and my entire legal team missed? This was it. The moment Amara had been dreading for 4 months. She could feel her carefully constructed new life crumbling. Because I used to be a lawyer, she said quietly. And because Michael Chin destroyed my career using almost identical language 2 years ago. Ji-hoon set down the contract very carefully. Sit down. Right now. And tell me everything. Amara sat in one of the leather chairs facing his desk. Her cleaning uniform suddenly felt like a costume. Ji-hoon took his own seat. His full attention was on her in a way that was both terrifying and oddly thrilling. My name is Amara Kim, she began. My mother is from Lagos, Nigeria. My father was Korean-American from Los Angeles. I graduated second in my class from Columbia Law. I was recruited by Blackstone and Associates right out of school. They were expanding their Seoul office and wanted someone who could navigate both Western and Asian markets. It was my dream job. I worked there for 3 years. What happened? I was assigned to a major pharmaceutical merger between a Korean biotech firm and a Chinese conglomerate. My supervising partner was Michael Chin. The senior attorney was Patricia Wong. Amara's hands clenched in her lap. I was doing my due diligence review when I found irregularities in some of the IP transfer agreements. The language was designed to fail. It would have left our client exposed to massive liability while funneling proprietary drug formulas to a shell company. Ji-hoon leaned forward. What did you do? I reported it to Patricia Wong. She thanked me and said she would handle it. 2 days later, I was called into a meeting with the firm's managing partners. They accused me of fabricating the irregularities to make myself look good. They said I had tampered with documents and shown them to competing firms. Amara's voice cracked. They gave me a choice. Resign quietly with a non-disparagement agreement, or they would report me to the Bar Association for ethics violations. They framed you. Perfectly. They had emails they claimed I had sent. Documents with my digital signature. Witness statements from other associates. I was 26 years old, a black woman in a predominantly white and Asian firm, going up against one of the most powerful law firms operating between New York and Seoul. Amara met his eyes. So I signed their agreement. I resigned. I thought I could start over at another firm. But you could not. Amara shook her head. Blackstone's reach is extensive, especially in Asia. Everywhere I applied New York, Seoul, Singapore, Hong Kong, I would get to the final round and then suddenly the position would be filled. Word got around that I was difficult, that there were concerns about my judgment. No one would touch me. After a year of trying, I was broke, blacklisted, and desperate. I moved to Seoul thinking my Korean heritage might help, but my father's family here wanted nothing to do with the scandal. So I took the first job I could find that did not require a background check. Cleaning offices. It pays the bills. And it keeps me far away from the legal world that destroyed me. Amara stood. I am sorry I saw your contract, Mr. Park. I will clear out my desk and be gone within the hour. Like hell you will. Ji-hoon stood abruptly. His voice was sharp. Do you realize what you just did? You potentially saved my company from a catastrophic mistake. Jung Wei has been pushing hard for this partnership. Now I understand why. If I had signed this, he could have claimed ownership of our autonomous vehicle technology, our AI systems, potentially our entire patent portfolio. Mr. Park, how many people knew about what you reported at Blackstone? About the pharmaceutical merger? Amara frowned at the sudden change in direction. Just Patricia Wong initially. Then the managing partners when they accused me. Who is the client? The pharmaceutical company. I cannot tell you that. The non-disparagement agreement. Forget the agreement. Amara, I need you to think. Who benefited from that merger going through with the flawed language? Amara's mind raced back. There was a third party. A holding company that would have gained control of the drug formulas. I never got a clear picture of who owned it because I was shut down so quickly. She paused. Why? Ji-hoon pulled out his phone and typed rapidly in Korean before switching back to English. Because Jung Wei does not just own technology companies. He has extensive pharmaceutical holdings across China and Korea. And Michael Chin has been his personal attorney for 15 years. He looked up at her. I think you stumbled onto something bigger than a single bad merger. I think you discovered a systematic operation. The implications hit Amara like a physical blow. They do this regularly. Find young attorneys who are smart enough to spot the traps, then destroy them before they can cause problems. And now they are trying to do it to me. Ji-hoon's expression hardened in a way that reminded Amara of the rumors about his past. About connections to organizations that operated in shadows. But I have something they did not count on. I have you. And unlike your previous employers, I actually listen when someone tries to save my company. Mr. Park, you cannot get involved in this. Blackstone will bury you. They have connections everywhere, judges, regulators, media in 3 countries. If you go after them, they will destroy you too. Let them try. Ji-hoon came around the desk and stood in front of her. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter but somehow more dangerous. Amara, I did not build my empire by playing safe. I came from nothing, and I mean nothing. I have fought people far more dangerous than corporate attorneys. So let me ask you something. If you had the resources, the protection, and the platform to expose what Blackstone did to you, would you take it? In a heartbeat. But that is not realistic. I am making it realistic. As of right now, you are fired from the cleaning staff. He held up a hand when she started to protest. And hired as my general counsel. Starting salary is $400,000 a year, plus bonuses. You will have full authority to review every contract that crosses my desk and complete access to my legal resources. Amara could not breathe. You cannot be serious. I am completely serious. I need someone I can trust. Someone who actually understands how these legal traps work. Someone who has been on the receiving end and knows exactly what to look for. His voice softened slightly. And maybe, while we are protecting my company, we can also get you some justice. They will come after me the moment they find out I am working for you. Good. Let them come. They will find out I am not some naive biotech startup. Ji-hoon's smile was cold. I have resources they cannot imagine. And I know how to fight dirty when I need to. She looked at his extended hand, then at his face. There was absolute certainty there. The confidence of someone who had clawed his way up from poverty in Busan to become one of Seoul's most powerful businessmen. The rumors about his connections to the underground world suddenly seemed less frightening and more protective. Amara took his hand. I want to see every contract you have signed in the past year. And I want a complete list of all your business associates and their legal representation. Ji-hoon smiled. A real smile that transformed his entire face. That is my girl. Let us burn these people down. If you are hooked on this story of revenge and second chances, hit that like button right now and drop a comment telling me what you think Amara will discover next. This is only the beginning. The next 72 hours were a blur. Ji-hoon set Amara up in an office next to his. Not a shabby cubicle, but a space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. He assigned her 2 junior attorneys and gave her unrestricted access to every database and resource Park Industries possessed. Amara worked with an intensity that surprised even her. Her natural hair, which she had kept carefully wrapped while cleaning, now fell in thick coils around her shoulders as she hunched over documents. She reviewed every contract, every partnership agreement, every licensing deal. And the more she dug, the more connections she found. Ji-hoon, you need to see this. Amara burst into his office on the 3rd day without knocking. He was on a video call, speaking rapid Korean to someone who looked distinctly uncomfortable. He held up a finger, wrapped up the call with what sounded like a threat, then gave her his full attention. What is it? Jung Wei is not the only one. Look at this. Amara spread documents across his desk. Her excitement was overriding her usual caution. Your partnership with Nexus Technologies last year has a similar IP trap in the indemnification clause. Your joint venture with Pacific Innovations 6 months ago means they could claim ownership of your cloud infrastructure under the right circumstances. Your distribution agreement with Quantum Solutions means you are potentially liable for their manufacturing defects with no protection in return. How many? 17 deals in the past 18 months. All with subtle but devastating legal traps. And here is the part that matters. 13 of them were negotiated by attorneys at Blackstone and Associates. Amara pointed to the firm name appearing repeatedly in the documentation. Ji-hoon, they are not just going after you. They are systematically compromising your entire corporate structure. Ji-hoon's face went from shock to cold fury. For a moment, Amara saw the man from the streets of Busan who had fought his way to the top. They are building a weapon. When they are ready, they will trigger all these clauses at once and tear my company apart. It is worse than that. Amara pulled out another document. I did some digging into Zhang Wei's background. 3 years ago, he acquired a struggling semiconductor company for almost nothing. The company had signed a partnership agreement with faulty IP language. The original owner fought the lawsuit but lost everything. The attorney who drafted that agreement was Michael Chin. How many others? I found 6 similar cases in the past 5 years. All successful companies that suddenly collapsed after IP disputes with Zhang Wei or companies he is connected to. All involving contracts drafted by Blackstone attorneys. Amara met his eyes. They are corporate raiders, Ji-hoon. They do not just practice law. They engineer financial collapses. Ji-hoon was silent for a long moment. Then he picked up his phone and spoke in Korean. Amara caught enough to understand he was calling someone at the Financial Supervisory Service. When he switched to English, his voice was ice. If they're doing this systematically, they are committing securities fraud across multiple jurisdictions. We are going to need federal involvement in both Korea and the US. They will know we are coming. Let them. Ji-hoon's smile was predatory and Amara felt a shiver run down her spine that was not entirely from fear. I have been playing defense this whole time. Time to go on offense. And I know exactly how to fight this kind of war. Over the next month, Amara watched Ji-hoon transform into something magnificent and terrifying. He did not just react to threats. He anticipated them, countered them, and turned them into weapons. He called in favors from people Amara suspected operated outside the law, gathered intelligence through channels she did not ask about, and built a case that was airtight and devastating. But it was what happened in the quiet moments that truly changed things. You should go home, Ji-hoon said one night when Amara was still at her desk at midnight. The Seoul skyline glittered behind her. You have been here since 6 this morning. So have you. I am used to it. You were supposed to be enjoying your massive salary increase. He leaned against her doorframe. His tie was loosened and he looked more human than she had ever seen him. His usually perfect hair was slightly mussed and there was something softer in his expression. I am enjoying it. This is the first time in 2 years I have felt like myself. Amara saved her work and swiveled her chair to face him. Thank you, Ji-hoon. For believing me. For taking a chance on a cleaning woman with a story. You were never just a cleaning woman. You were a brilliant attorney playing a role to survive. He walked into her office and sat in the chair across from her. Can I tell you something? Of course. When I built this company, I did it alone. No partners, no mentors, just me fighting my way up from Busan streets where people like me were not supposed to succeed. Ji-hoon's voice was unusually soft. I learned to trust no one because everyone wanted something from me. Power, money, connections. But you did not want anything. You tried to warn me and walk away. That kind of integrity is rare. Especially in my world. Amara felt her heart skip. Your world is my world now. Is it? Because sometimes I worry I am dragging you into something that will only hurt you more. My enemies do not just file lawsuits, Amara. Some of them play much more dangerous games. You are not dragging me anywhere. I am choosing this. She leaned forward. Those people took everything from me, Ji-hoon. My career, my reputation, my sense of self-worth. For 2 years, I have been invisible, afraid to even use my real name. You gave me a chance to be seen again. To fight back. Whatever happens, I am grateful for that. Even if it gets dangerous? Especially if it gets dangerous. Amara smiled and in that moment, She looked nothing like the timid cleaning woman who had dropped a coffee cup. I am tired of being afraid. And honestly, after growing up Black in America and then trying to make it in Korean corporate culture, I have dealt with dangerous my whole life. Ji-hoon held her gaze for a long moment. There was something in his eyes she could not quite read. Intensity, yes, but also warmth. Concern. Desire. Maybe something more. Then let us make them afraid, he said finally. His voice was low. Let us show them what happens when they underestimate people. Both of us know what that is like, do we not? Being underestimated. Every single day of my life, Amara said softly. A Black woman with a Korean name in a white man's profession. They never expected me to be brilliant. Just like they never expected the boy from Busan's slums to build an empire. We are going to destroy them together. Ji-hoon stood, but instead of leaving, he moved closer. Amara, I need to know. Are you ready for what is coming? Because once we strike, there is no going back. I have never been more ready for anything in my life. 6 weeks after Amara revealed the contract trap, they were ready. Ji-hoon called a meeting with Zhang Wei, Michael Chin, and representatives from Blackstone and Associates at Park Industries headquarters. The conference room was pristine. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of Seoul. Thank you all for coming, Ji-hoon said in perfect English, though Amara knew he could have conducted this meeting in Korean, Mandarin, or Japanese. I wanted to discuss some concerns about our partnership agreement. Zhang Wei, an elegant man in his 60s, smiled. Of course, Ji-hoon. I am sure we can address any issues. I am certain we can. Ji-hoon gestured to Amara. This is Amara Kim, my general counsel. She has identified some problematic language in Section 12. Michael Chin stiffened slightly. Just enough for Amara to notice. He was in his 50s, with the kind of polished appearance that came from decades of expensive suits and power lunches. His eyes flicked to Amara and away, showing no recognition of the young attorney he had destroyed 2 years ago. She had changed. Her natural hair free, her bearing confident, her skin glowing with renewed purpose. I am sure it is just a misunderstanding, Chin said smoothly. The language is quite standard. Is it? Amara opened her laptop and connected it to the room's display screen. Her hands were steady and her voice was clear. Because I found it interesting that identical language appears in 17 other contracts Mr. Park has signed, 13 of which were drafted by Blackstone and Associates. Even more interesting, similar language appears in contracts that preceded the collapse of 6 different companies over the past 5 years, spanning operations in Korea, China, Japan, and the United States. The temperature in the room dropped about 20 degrees. That is quite an accusation, Chin said. His voice hardened. I hope you can back it up, Miss Kim. Amara Kim. Though you might remember me as Amara Williams, the junior associate you framed and forced out when I discovered your pharmaceutical merger scheme. Amara's smile was sharp. I kept my mother's maiden name and my father's surname. Funny how a name change can make you invisible to the people who destroyed you. Chen's face went white, then red. You signed a non-disparagement agreement, which I am violating right now. Sue me. Amara clicked through slides showing contract comparisons, corporate filings, lawsuit records. Actually, you should know that I have already filed a lawsuit against Blackstone and Associates for wrongful termination, fraud, conspiracy, and racial discrimination. The SEC is also very interested in your activities, as is the Financial Supervisory Service here in Korea, and the FBI's White-Collar Crime Division. The pattern is consistent, Amara continued. Her voice grew stronger with each word. A successful company signs an agreement with subtle IP traps. When the time is right, the traps are triggered through coordinated legal action. The company collapses or is acquired at a fraction of its value by entities connected to Mr. Zhang. Some owners fight and lose everything. Others settle quietly, destroyed financially and professionally. And the attorneys who discover the schemes? They are systematically eliminated. Usually young lawyers, often women, frequently people of color who do not have the institutional protection to fight back. Zhang Wei's expression remained neutral, but his hands tightened on the armrests of his chair. I documented 23 similar cases, Amara said. But here is what is really interesting. I found 4 other attorneys who were pushed out of firms after discovering contract irregularities. 3 women, 1 man. All of them brilliant. All of them destroyed through false allegations and NDAs. I have been in contact with all of them. They are ready to testify. This is absurd, Chin stood abruptly. These are outrageous claims. Sit down. Ji-hoon's voice was quiet, but something in it made Chin freeze. When Ji-hoon spoke again, it was in English, but with an edge that suggested violence was merely a business tool he had chosen to set aside. You tried to steal my company. You have done it to dozens of others. But you made one critical mistake. What is that? Jang Wei asked. His composure was cracking slightly. You assumed I would fight you in court. That I would play by your rules. Ji-hoon leaned back. His smile was cold. But I did not get where I am by playing by rules. I know people, Mr. Zhang. People who are very interested in your operations in Shanghai. People who take business disputes very personally. And they owe me favors. The implication hung in the air. Amara felt a chill run down her spine, realizing exactly what kind of connections Ji-hoon was referencing. Are you threatening us? Chin demanded. No. Ji-hoon's voice was ice. I am giving you a choice. Option 1 is you withdraw from this partnership immediately. You pay Park Industries $50 million for the time and resources wasted on this fraudulent negotiation. You cooperate fully with the federal investigations in both the US and Korea. And you make full restitution to every attorney your firm has destroyed, including Miss Kim. And option 2? Jang Wei asked quietly. Option 2, I make 1 phone call. Just 1. And your operations in Shanghai experience difficulties. Your pharmaceutical holdings encounter unexpected regulatory scrutiny. Your technology investments find themselves unable to secure permits. Ji-hoon's smile never reached his eyes. I have been very patient, Mr. Zhang. I have built my empire legally, cleanly. But I still remember how to fight the way I did in Busan. And those friends I made? They never forgot me either. You cannot prove any of this legal fraud, Jang Wei said, but his voice lacked conviction. Actually, we can. Ji-hoon opened a folder. We have traced money flows between your holding companies and the firms that acquired the collapsed businesses. We have emails between Blackstone attorneys discussing leverage points in contracts. We have testimony from multiple attorneys and business owners you have destroyed. We have forensic accounting that shows exactly how you profited. He slid documents across the table. Your signature appears on consulting agreements with 17 companies that acquired businesses after IP disputes you initiated. All represented by Mr. Chen. And here is the media package we are prepared to release, Amara added, pulling up another screen. The story of how a black woman attorney discovered a corporate raiding scheme, was destroyed for it, and then came back to bring down a billion-dollar fraud operation. CNN International, BBC, major Korean networks are all very interested, especially in the racial and gender dynamics of how your firm systematically targeted diverse attorneys who showed too much integrity. The silence was absolute. 24 hours, Ji-hoon said. After that, everything goes public and to the federal authorities in 3 countries. Plus, I make that phone call to Shanghai. Your choice. Ji-hoon stood and buttoned his jacket. Amara gathered her materials. Her heart was pounding, but her hands were steady. As they walked toward the door, Chin called out, You will never work in law again, Miss Kim. We will make sure of it. Amara turned back. Her smile was radiant. I already work in law, Mr. Chen. I am general counsel of a $3 billion company. I have resources you cannot imagine and a boss who actually values integrity over profit. She paused. Oh, and that young woman I was? The one you told was not tough enough for this world? She is gone. But I am still here. And I never forget. They walked out. Ji-hoon's hand found the small of her back. Protective, possessive, proud. They made it to Ji-hoon's private office before Amara started shaking. The adrenaline that had carried her through the confrontation suddenly drained away and left her trembling. I cannot believe we just did that, she whispered. Ji-hoon pulled her into his arms without hesitation. You were magnificent. Did you see Chen's face when you revealed who you were? I thought he was going to have a stroke. Amara laughed. The sound was slightly hysterical. Did you really mean that? About the phone call to Shanghai? Every word. Ji-hoon pulled back enough to look at her face. I told you, Amara. I know how to fight wars. And I protect what is mine. Is that what I am? Yours. If you want to be. His hand came up to cup her face. His thumb brushed her cheek. I know this is complicated. I am your employer. I am Korean and you are. Half Korean, half Nigerian, all American, and completely confused about where I belong, Amara finished. I have spent my whole life not fitting into anyone's boxes, Ji-hoon. And you are not exactly conventional either. No, I am not. His smile was soft now, genuine. I am a man from the slums who built an empire through equal parts brilliance and violence. I have connections to people who operate outside the law. I am not always good, Amara. But with you, I want to be. I do not need you to be good. I need you to be real. Amara's hand covered his on her face. And I need you to keep helping me destroy the people who tried to destroy me. Always. He leaned closer. His intention was clear in his eyes. Is this a terrible idea? Probably the worst either of us has ever had, Amara murmured. But I stopped caring about good ideas the moment you saw me as something more than a cleaning woman. He kissed her and Amara felt something inside her that had been frozen for 2 years finally thaw. This was what it felt like to be seen, to be valued, to be wanted for exactly who she was. Black, Korean, American, brilliant, broken, and rebuilding herself piece by piece. When they finally broke apart, Ji-hoon rested his forehead against hers. They are going to fight. This is just the beginning. I know. But for the first time in 2 years, I do not feel powerless. You were never powerless, Amara. You just needed the right platform. And someone who understood what it is like to be underestimated because of where you come from. He kissed her again, softer this time. We are going to win this. Together. Before you find out what happens next, make sure you like this video and drop a comment about your favorite moment so far. Amara and Ji-hoon's fight is far from over and you will not want to miss what comes next. The next 3 months were a whirlwind. Zhang Wei and Blackstone and associates fought initially, but the weight of evidence was overwhelming. The SEC investigation expanded rapidly as more victims came forward, including 2 other attorneys of color who had been systematically pushed out after discovering similar schemes. The Financial Supervisory Service in Korea launched parallel investigations. For senior partners at Blackstone were arrested in coordinated raids in New York and Seoul. And through it all, Amara and Ji-hoon built something remarkable together, both professionally and personally. The Bar Association approved your full reinstatement, Ji-hoon said one morning, walking into her office with a bouquet of African violets and Korean roses. A deliberate choice that made Amara's eyes sting with tears. She looked up from her desk, where she had been reviewing acquisition documents for their latest deal. Both in New York and here? Both. I may have called in a few favors. Also, the president of the Korean Bar Association happened to be very interested in the story of the attorney who brought down an international corporate raiding operation. He set the flowers on her desk. Amara Kim, attorney at law. Welcome back. Amara stood and came around the desk. Her natural hair was styled in elegant twists today, and she wore a tailored suit that made her look every inch the powerful attorney she had always been meant to be. I do not know if I ever really left. I was just hiding. You are not hiding anymore. Ji-hoon pulled her close and spoke in Korean now. He had been teaching her, and she had been teaching him more about her Nigerian heritage. Their relationship had become a beautiful fusion of cultures, languages, and shared determination. Sarangi. I love you too, she whispered back, mixing Korean and English the way they had started doing naturally. Even though you are intense and sometimes terrifying and definitely have friends who scare me. They should scare you. They scare me sometimes. He kissed her forehead. But they respect you. Do you know what Kim Dae-jung told me last week? Your terrifying friend who definitely is not in organized crime? Ji-hoon laughed. He said, your woman has more courage than most men I know. Do not lose her. Coming from him, That is the highest compliment. Your woman, Amara repeated, raising an eyebrow. Possessive much? Completely. Is that a problem? Not even a little bit. She kissed him and poured everything she felt into it. When they finally broke apart, she was breathless. Ji-hoon, I need to ask you something. When this is all over, when the trials are done and Blackstone is destroyed, what do you want? For us. I want you beside me. Always. His voice was serious now. I want to build something that matters with you. I want to wake up to your face every morning and fall asleep with you in my arms every night. I want to teach you to love Seoul the way I do, and I want you to show me Lagos and Los Angeles and every place that made you who you are. That is very romantic for a man with mob connections. Even gangsters fall in love, Amara. He smiled. And I need to ask you something too. When this is over, what do you want? Do you want to stay at Park Industries? Start your own firm? Travel the world? I want to help other people like me. Attorneys who were chewed up and spit out by the system. Young lawyers of color who discovered problems and got destroyed for speaking up. Women who were told they were not tough enough. Amara had been thinking about this for weeks. I want to build a practice that protects whistleblowers and goes after firms that abuse their power. Then let us do it. We will create a new division at Park Industries. Legal advocacy and reform. You will run it with whatever resources you need. Ji-hoon's eyes gleamed. We will call it the Amara Initiative. That is too much. It is not nearly enough. Amara, you did not just save my company. You reminded me why I fought so hard to escape Busan streets. Not just for money or power, but to make a difference. To be someone who matters. He kissed her softly. Let me help you do the same. 8 months after the coffee cup shattered in Ji-hoon's office, Amara stood in a Seoul courtroom watching Michael Chin being led away in handcuffs. He had been convicted on 18 counts spanning multiple jurisdictions. Fraud, conspiracy, racketeering, and civil rights violations for systematically targeting diverse attorneys. Jung Wei had already pleaded guilty in both Korean and U.S. courts and was serving 20 years. Blackstone and Associates had filed for bankruptcy. Its assets were liquidated to pay victims across 3 countries. How does it feel? Ji-hoon asked in Korean. His hand found hers. Like closure. And like a beginning, Amara responded in the same language. Her Korean was now fluent enough to handle complex emotions. She turned to face him. The Amara Initiative starts next month. We have 18 cases lined up already. Attorneys who were forced out for ethical concerns, whistleblowers who need protection, young lawyers of color fighting against impossible odds. Our baby is growing up so fast. Ji-hoon pulled her close, not caring that they were in a courthouse hallway with reporters everywhere. The cameras loved them. The powerful Korean businessman and the brilliant black attorney who had brought down an international fraud operation. Their story had captured imaginations across 3 continents. We did this together. You gave me the platform, the protection, the courage to fight back. You had the courage all along. I just helped you remember it. He switched to English. His accent was thick with emotion. Ready to go change the world? With you? Always. They walked out of the courthouse together into the Seoul sunlight, past reporters shouting questions in Korean, English, and Mandarin. Amara felt none of the fear that used to grip her when facing public scrutiny. She was no longer invisible, no longer afraid, no longer defined by what had been done to her. She was Amara Kim, attorney, advocate, and the woman who brought down an empire of corruption. She was Park Ji-hoon's partner in business and in love. She was Nigerian and Korean and American all at once. She was a fighter, a survivor, and someone who refused to let anyone else go through what she had. But the day was not over yet. That evening, Ji-hoon took her to a private restaurant in Gangnam, the kind of place where Seoul's elite conducted business away from prying eyes. Amara recognized several faces. Politicians, business leaders, and at least 2 people she was certain had ties to organized crime. "Why are we here?" she whispered as they were led to a private room. "Because there is something I need to do. Something important." Ji-hoon's hand was warm in hers, steady and sure. When they entered the room, Amara stopped short. Sitting at the table were people she never expected to see. Her mother, who had flown in from Lagos. Her estranged paternal grandmother from Los Angeles, whom she had not spoken to in 5 years. And Ji-hoon's mother, a tiny woman with steel in her eyes who had raised her son alone in Busan's toughest neighborhood. "What is this?" Amara asked. Her voice was shaking. "This is family," Ji-hoon said simply. "Our family. Past and future." Her mother stood first. Tears streamed down her face. "My daughter. My brilliant, beautiful daughter. I am so proud of you." She pulled Amara into a fierce embrace and spoke in the mixture of English and Yoruba that Amara had grown up with. "You did it, baby. You fought back and you won. Mama, I did not know you were coming. Your man called me. Told me everything." Her mother pulled back and cupped Amara's face. "He asked my permission to marry you. Did it proper, the way it should be done." Amara's head snapped to Ji-hoon. "You what?" Ji-hoon was already dropping to one knee and pulling out a ring that somehow combined Korean and African design elements. White gold with a diamond, but also featuring traditional Korean knotwork and small rubies arranged in a pattern that echoed African geometric designs. "Amara Kim," he said. His voice was thick with emotion, and he switched between Korean and English. "You saved my company. You changed my life. You made me want to be better than I was. I love you, Sarangi, with everything I am. Will you marry me? Will you build a life with me? Will you let me spend every day proving that you made the right choice when you decided to trust me?" Amara looked around the room through tears. Her mother was beaming. Ji-hoon's mother had a small smile that suggested approval, hard one. Her grandmother, her father's mother who had rejected her after her father died because she was too black, too African, had tears running down her weathered face. "Halmiani," Amara whispered, using the Korean word for grandmother. The old woman stood shakily. "I was wrong," she said in Korean, then switched to heavily accented English. "I was wrong about you. Wrong about your mother. I let my grief over losing my son make me cruel. But watching you fight, watching you win, you have your father's courage and your mother's strength. And this man," she gestured to Ji-hoon, "he loves you the way your father loved your mother. Completely. Without reservation." "I do not understand," Amara said, looking at Ji-hoon. "How did you?" "I found her. I tracked down everyone who had hurt you, everyone who had rejected you. Not to threaten them, well, not most of them, but to show them who you had become." Ji-hoon's voice was soft. "Your grandmother wanted to reach out but did not know how. Your mother has been following your case from Lagos, terrified but proud. And my Amma, she wanted to meet the woman who made her son believe in something more than money and power." Ji-hoon's mother spoke in rapid Korean and Ji-hoon translated. "She says you have fire and ice, which is what I needed. She says any woman who can face down criminals and lawyers with equal courage is worthy of her son." High praise from her. Amara looked down at Ji-hoon, still on his knee, holding that beautiful ring. Around her were the women who had shaped her, by presence and absence, by love and rejection. And here was this man, this complicated, dangerous, brilliant man who had seen her when she was invisible and chosen to make her visible again. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, "Yes. 1,000 times yes." The room erupted in joy. Her mother's ululation, mixed with Korean exclamations, tears and laughter blending together. Ji-hoon slipped the ring on her finger and stood, pulling her into a kiss that made her forget anyone else was watching. "I love you," she said against his lips in English, then Korean, then even attempting it in Yoruba, making him laugh. "I love you in every language," he responded. "In every way possible. Forever." 3 months later, they stood before a judge, not in a church or temple, but in a simple ceremony that blended traditions. Amara wore white with African patterns embroidered in gold and a modified hanbok jacket that honored Ji-hoon's heritage. He wore a Western suit with Korean and African details in the accessories. Their mothers stood beside them, having become unlikely friends united in their love for their children. The Amara Initiative had officially launched the week before with Amara as founding director. Their first major case was representing a group of junior attorneys. 3 Black women, 2 Korean men, and 1 Hispanic non-binary lawyer who had been systematically pushed out of a major Singapore firm for reporting fraud. The case was already making international headlines. Park Industries had expanded into legal advocacy and reform with Ji-hoon using his considerable resources and questionable connections to protect whistleblowers and take on corrupt firms. They had become a power couple in both legal and business circles. Respected, feared, and impossible to ignore. But more than that, they had become partners in the truest sense. Building something that mattered. Fighting for justice. Proving that sometimes the people the world tries to make invisible become the ones who change everything. As they exchanged vows, Amara thought about the woman she had been 8 months ago. Scrubbing floors, hiding her brilliance, afraid to even speak. That woman seemed like someone from another lifetime. I promise to see you, Ji-hoon said. His vows were a mixture of traditional and personal. Always. To never let you be invisible again. To fight beside you, protect you, and love you exactly as you are. I promise to be brave, Amara responded. To never hide again. To build something beautiful with you from all our broken pieces. To love you in all your complexity. The street fighter and the businessman, the dangerous and the gentle. They kissed as husband and wife, and the small gathering erupted in applause. Outside, Seoul sparkled in the sunset, a city where a boy from the slums and a girl caught between worlds had found each other and built an empire of justice. 6 months after the wedding, Amara stood before a Senate committee in Washington, D.C., testifying about corporate fraud and the systematic elimination of diverse voices in major law firms. Ji-hoon sat in the audience. His presence was a steady anchor. Beside him were 4 of the attorneys they had helped through the Amara initiative. All reinstated, all thriving, all ready to fight. The problem is not just individual bad actors, Amara said. Her voice was clear and strong. It is a system that punishes integrity and rewards complicity. It is a culture that destroys young attorneys, particularly women and people of color, who dare to speak up. We need structural reform. We need protection for whistleblowers. We need consequences for firms that engage in systematic fraud. She spoke for 90 minutes and laid out a comprehensive case for reform. The senators listened. Some were skeptical, others engaged. But by the end, even the skeptics were nodding. After the hearing, reporters swarmed her. Mrs. Park, what would you say to other young attorneys who discover fraud? Amara smiled, thinking of the coffee cup shattering on marble floors, of the moment everything changed. I would say this. Document everything. Find allies. Do not let them make you invisible. And know that there are people out there ready to fight beside you. You are not alone. What is next for the Amara initiative? We are opening offices in 5 more countries. We are building a network of pro bono attorneys specializing in whistleblower protection. And we are going after every firm that thinks it can destroy careers to hide corruption. She felt Ji-hoon's hand find hers, warm and steady. We are just getting started. That night, in their hotel room overlooking the Potomac, Ji-hoon held her close. You were incredible today. We were incredible. Amara corrected and snuggled into his embrace. None of this happens without you. We are a good team. A dangerous team. He kissed the top of her head. Did I tell you Kim Dae-jung called? He wants to fund a scholarship program through the initiative. Full ride for diverse law students who show exceptional integrity. The gangster wants to fund scholarships? Even gangsters want to leave a legacy. Ji-hoon laughed. Plus, he really likes you. Says you remind him of his daughter. Fierce and uncompromising. I am choosing to take that as a compliment. You should. Coming from him, it absolutely is. They were quiet for a moment, watching the city lights. Then Amara spoke. Do you ever think about how we met? How one dropped coffee cup changed everything. Every day. Best accident of my life. Ji-hoon turned her to face him. Though I do not think it was an accident. I think you were meant to see that contract. Meant to save my company. Meant to find your way back to yourself. Meant to find you. Meant to find each other, he corrected. 2 people who did not fit anywhere, building a place where we both belong. I like that. Amara kissed him softly. The street fighter from Busan and the girl caught between three worlds, conquering the world together, one corrupt law firm at a time. They laughed together, and in that moment, Amara felt completely, perfectly whole. She had been broken, destroyed, forced into invisibility. But she had come back stronger. She had found love in the most unexpected place. She had built something that mattered. The coffee cup that shattered 8 months ago had broken more than ceramic. It had shattered the walls Amara built around herself, the invisibility she had wrapped herself in, the fear that had kept her small and silent. And from those broken pieces, she had built something extraordinary. As Amara drifted off to sleep in Ji-hoon's arms, she thought about all the young attorneys out there right now, facing what she had faced. The ones discovering problems and being told to stay quiet. The ones being threatened and destroyed for having integrity. The ones who felt invisible and powerless. Tomorrow, she would fight for them. Tomorrow, she and Ji-hoon would continue building their empire of justice. Tomorrow, the Amara Initiative would take on another impossible case and win. But tonight, she simply held the man who had seen her when no one else did and let herself be grateful for every twist of fate that brought them together. The invisible woman had become invincible. The cleaning woman had become a force that corporate America could not ignore. And the girl who had never quite fit anywhere had found her place. Beside a man who understood what it meant to fight your way up from nothing, in a life built on justice and love and refusing to ever be silent again. If this story of redemption, justice, and unexpected love moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful stories. Share this with anyone who needs to hear that it is never too late to fight back, to reclaim your power, and to find people who see your worth. Drop a comment telling me what resonated with you most, because stories like Amara and Ji-hoon's remind us that the invisible can become invincible and love can bloom in the most unexpected places. Thank you for staying until the end. Your support means everything, and remember, you are never as powerless as they want you to believe.